Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4 with Black Ice 8.6. Now, before we get back into this episode, since I fixed this, I wanted to show off. Now, realize a couple of things, or a few things. I don't know how many there'll be here. I made the Allo mod. It was basically my first mod that I made, and it was meant to be released, yes, but it was mostly a training experience for me. I made it before I even really found Black Ice even as a playing game, to play the game. I mean, I'd heard of it and saw it there, but I was still playing the dig, the De Era Gata Damarung mod, whatever, however you pronounce that. And things. And I wanted to learn elements of modding, and so it covers a lot of things, not just events. So a lot of features like changing the province picture, because there obviously there's a generic. I think there is a Boulogne picture for, like there's a Le Havre, a Caen, and a Cherbourg. But we have this picture here. So I mean, I wanted to learn that and also learn about making some units. So here is the Nouvion garrison unit working right. Got it working right. It is the same. It was meant to be much weaker than a proper garrison unit, but you can see here it ends up being actually slightly stronger by about 100 people than the later Black Ice garrison attachment. Though this will, as you can see, various upgrade possibilities. This one doesn't have any of that stuff. It's just what it is, and you can look at its stats here. I mean, it has the stats, but it doesn't have anything that will upgrade. Could theoretically make it, but why? Add it all, because it's a lot of, either I have to have this as part of a because it's actually, notice it's, I mean, I'm showing off my early days of modding, I know. I hope you're tolerant enough about this. It's both the name, and then the name of the unit type is unique to itself. And I would have to go in and I'd either have to convince the Black Ice people, they're kindly enough and they may do it, to have it as part of a standard thing. And they did that for me for the both the reduced strength SA units and the SA cavalry, brought in as standard units to Black Ice for me. So I mean, they're kindly enough, but this just not worth asking them. Or I would have to constantly, every version of Black Ice that comes out, I'd have to create modified files. So that's why one of the reasons this doesn't upgrade too. I used a black and white out a still from the series of the, at least one shot of sort of German garrison troops, and as you can see that they're sort of not very professional German. Yeah, it's a comedy show, so that. And so this sort of represents the German garrison here. Of course, we have Colonel von Strom as garrison commander here. He is a general with a German general with an Iron Cross, so those are improvements over having no general, but he has skill 0. And then we have Lieutenant Gruber's little tanks. That's the unit's name, and I used it throughout there. And when you click there, you get the armored car, a photo of the armored car. It's a mock-up of the thing. It actually has some weird rear hatch. I don't know what vehicle they used to. And for the series, making a mock-up of an armored car, they actually did a pretty good job doing that. And so it has, again, some stats, but nothing will upgrade. Just one model, no upgrades. So, and it's fairly weak. And so we have its own little thing. So that's it. There will eventually be a few more units that will arrive. Hopefully they'll all work, but I got that fixed. Okay, well, let's continue. Now I did, and it was a test, because I didn't record it at all. I messed around with this, and I got it. If I just have this long-range auxiliary transport, I can do a naval invasion from this port to there, but I had to strip this division of its transport, of its armor. I don't know if I had to. I don't remember exactly if I had to strip out the artillery. I don't think so. Oh, that's right. We want to change all that. I had to let the clock roll a little bit further ahead to see if I could invade. Oh, let's freeze this. I want to open that. Freeze that. I want to keep the officers growing. We're doing fair. So, since I can't naval invade from here effectively, and the Marine Division, without its armor, I don't think the transport helped, but without its armor was not, at least not appearing to be enough to take the garrison division that's here. So that's a little bit of a problem. So we're doing something about it. We're going to see about trying this. Just that, we can load that in. Let's come down here with this, rebase. Now, you come up here. Okay, just transport will be fine, I guess. We're sort of protected with some naval air attacking here. Okay, amphibious warfare equipment. Great. That will allow research for marine activation. I think the only two nations. Now this is just again mine, and it may be coming out of ignorance or whatever. But I would only say two nations during the World War II time period had what I would call proper Marines that would equal to this Marine activation, as opposed to naval landing infantry. I would say that would be the United States, which is the most obvious with the U.S. Marine Corps. And I would say the Royal Marines. Now the Royal Marines in scale is a much smaller sized organization. But that would be it, because everybody else, you know, like there's Russian naval infantry. I don't really think Japan had anything that would equate to either the Royal Marines or the U.S. Marines. I'm not saying they didn't have naval landing infantry types, and you know, the French or whoever else, the Soviets, but I think they would just be limited to naval landing infantry. And this is sort of what to me is a little bit of a and it's not, this is, I mean, maybe it's my prejudices, but just my understanding of history. You need the Marines to be able to do proper landing craft. Well, Germany was sort of converting stuff for landing craft. Now I know that they do that with those auxiliary vessels, but they were working on some stuff. They had amphibious tanks or tanks that sunk but still breathed air from the surface. And you know, the Japanese definitely had naval landing type craft. I don't know. I'd say it's a bit harsh. It requires that, especially with limitations. But maybe it's really that it's that hard to get good proper, and I'm talking in World War II, good proper landing equipment. Okay, now what we want to do is deplane you, and I want to select and select. I don't know if we'll be able to hold all this, but R. What I want to do is move that over to that. Now, okay, they can't. Where is this. It's still in Rome. I think that marine armor is air transportable. At least I know it was in an earlier version. Does it say here? No, I'm looking in the wrong place, of course. I really should put the other two onto the map now. Just sort of been wondering where I was going to use it. So let's drop one here, because I may want to send it for continued naval operations, and let's put the other one here, because that way they start getting some of the upgrades that they should have before they get used. Basically, I should stop these, because there's no longer any British naval operations in the Med, or Allied naval operations, or however you want to say that. Okay, they're still not there, my desert armor. Okay, good. Not that von Thoma isn't doing a bang-up job. Okay. Let's take a look here. You've hit a few. Let's come out here. Convoy rating. Passive. See if any convoys are going to or from there. Yes, I know just enough escorts would cause the disorganization. But at least now we have, well, reasonable amounts of supplies, 45 and 30, coming into these ports. And no, I hope the Italians are using this port. You know, since it's the AI doing this, I'm here. And here, well, mentioning down here, we've got these guys here. So let's also see about, okay, they're getting that. Convoy rating passive. Just because I want you to, if you encountered a bunch of enemy ships, I don't want you to keep fighting it out. Just head back to base and get repaired. Soviets, give them money for rare material. Oh yeah, sure, we've got plenty of money. In fact, we got so much money, 53 coming in. We're selling these supplies for 15 and 15. Let's cancel 2 of those. Okay. Just because I want to continue to store up a bit more supplies. It'll take a while for that glider to get here. I'm not sure. Well, actually, let's deplane these. Let's see if we just not double, but don't want to totally disrupt things. That should be about equal to the glider added to the other formation. Okay, yes, now it can get on board. So, and can, okay, get on board. Yay. And these guys now can't. They're too big. Oh, I touched, no, Oh, the Flieger has the air landing infantry field. Herrenhalle. Okay, because these are big. These are the motorcycles. Okay. I'm just guessing that glider doesn't have enough range. But that's just a guess of mine. It's a somewhat educated guess, but that is still my guess. Okay. What I want to do here is... we're going to create the first airborne corps. Let's load them up now. From here now. Well, let's at least fly him down there before I disrupt his organization by attaching the leader to him. These might have the range, and maybe adding that to the other one will get the Flieger division. I'm overstressing this little airport, and it's even still just getting a little bit better. What decision do we have? Oh, Operation Barbarossa. No. We're not going to do Barbarossa right now. I want to check that. Okay. Its conditions are at least January 22nd, or June, sorry, 22nd, 1941. Cherbourg is a province not controlled by the Allies. Okay, Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam. Okay, so I guess I'm guessing that will continue to stay there. Because again, I want to fire that in 42, at least it's my current plan. We're already in June. June wouldn't be a terrible time if we were really ready, but I think I'm smarter than Hitler. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Hitler was particularly stupid, but I don't know, maybe I'm not super brilliant either. Maybe it just I've learned the lessons from Hitler's mistake. We've lost some. SS garrison divisions. Now I know I've got a bunch of troops down in here that I'm going to be moving eventually up there. I have got these guys here as well, but fight from there, but I just don't think I'm ready. And there's more things that can move, I know. Now, here. Okay. These horse transported divisions, we're going to send them to here. Here. Oh, well. Not the light vehicle, horse transport. And oh, cheers. Now I'm gonna swap this one to go to Oran. Just anticipating a you know, U.S. coming in event. This may be also worthy to try to hold. That's just 3 HQs there. That's not holding any damn thing. And that's an HQ there. I don't know how much, if any, ship transport Vichy France has. They should have some. That's me, of course, but because they could pull out. I think it's reformed up here. The militia unit that's there. Shift that. And obviously they got some other units they could move around if it would be helpful to them. I don't know what would be helpful and what would be harmful. I think it's good that they have some units down in here, but they're pretty weak, and so I want to make sure. I think they're sort of looking around here. Well, yeah, I sort of kind of think. You see, it shouldn't be out here. Don't need to defend the Italian border. These guys, they're a problem, but these sort of left over, like in my last series, I had those French units that I eventually got out, but okay, at least, oh, we have, well, how many, there's, you guys go here, rebase, we have one out in the desert, good. Okay, yes, these guys still aren't there yet. I really don't want to totally get rid of any one of these units. So I'm hoping, yeah, that's enough. Now can these guys do an airborne? Yes, they can. Okay. We give them money for rare materials. Cool. We'll take that. Now, I guess what I should do here is some prep, and I know I'm even more. Let's look at the air map. Do we have any other air bases around here that we could come down here? Overstressing this airport. I'm disrupting the troops, but let's ground attack. This is, I guess, my opinion, the proper way to do it. Okay, good, we're hurting. To do an airborne invasion. Now, I don't really want to risk fully losing one of my 2 airborne units. I have 2 more in production, but man, they take a long time to produce. We're still looking at October 41, and they've been, well, they fell out of production or whatever a little bit during some of that. Oh, okay, we need to produce more things, because I don't want to make the von Houten right now. Produce it. Okay, what I've been looking at, let's go back to this mode here. Okay, we've got lots of artilleries, and I got the headquarters building for these guys, got some reconnaissance maybe. Yeah, they need, I got motorcycles, but maybe a few more. Yeah, some of those motorcycles are up there just for adding to other units, so let's produce a couple of more motorcycle recon units. Well, actually, let's, how many do I have in production? I have some. Maybe that'll be enough. Yeah, that could be enough. Just those, maybe. No, okay. As I was talking earlier, I don't think I'm ready for a Soviet invasion. So, infantry regiment. Let's do regular artillery and rocket artillery. These rockets are cheap to build, but they use up lots of supply. once they get fighting. That doubles their cost. Since we're having the rockets, might as well make them good proper units, because we'll use the various headquarters. Is that 3? Let's go with 4. And we have him and him. So let's go with one more long-range heavy transport. As you can see, like being able to do the invasion that we're doing now, how important those can be. And flying supplies. No, okay, you're moving up there, good, because you're going to attack that unit. That's what I'm looking for. You killed everybody here? It looks like it. Well, they moved them out because they realized they're going to be attacked. Okay, well... That's... oh. No. No, I guess we need to click here, don't we? Okay, we're going to attach you to this. That's right there. And we're going to attach... I'm going to detach and attach you, and now to get more proper benefit. Headquarters, I guess we're going to think that's within command range. So let's give, I know student should be in charge, but he's fairly good at this, so I want to use him as Sussman. Where's Sussman? He's pretty good too. He was the one who commanded the Crete invasion. That's just to make sure. So obviously if I pulled him out now, they would disorganize and be too long to redo it. Maybe I should move him. But see, he's a Falsumjäger himself, so that would be, yeah, that's better. So, okay, so that should do that. And now let's save. Let's be smart and save it. Before you do big traumatic things, I always recommend to save. Oh, let's got these guys here. They're somewhat disrupted. I just send them out fresh. Those submarines that are there. And if there's any other ships as they leave port. Let's see if we can attack them. I know we may not have much organization, but oh, we lost this, but now they're retreating. Okay, well, whatever. Okay, so we got that. Now these guys here. No, these guys. Let's add. Let's change it to naval strike and see if we can pick up any of those submarines or anything. I do sort of wish if you did parachute in, you'd have a chance of capturing some of this or destroying some stuff. Very little of that was done historically, but I look at it as quite possible. Okay, well now that we have this island here, I want to build an air base. Why? Well, to base naval air out of, to strike in here, just in case I can get to. Well, there will be supplies and resources flowing through here. So if out of India or wherever, if they're still close enough to base, or here, not that I'm not going to be taking some of these other places, base submarines or something to be able to attack me. I want to be able to do protective operations, and want to do that. It's probably not going to go after the Andaman Islands. Maybe the long-range transport would get there, but. And I want to do radar here again to sort of nail down and protect this region. Now, especially the radar, I think will take too long maybe to really be really useful, but I want to start building it. And of course the airbase is cheap enough that it really doesn't matter that. I just sort of want to do, that's sort of why I haven't built radar here, because I knew I was planning on coming out here and this would be a better control point. Well, now that we have that, where do we have an airbase? We have an airbase here because we have an airbase mod that puts an airbase there. Wonder if we can get to here. Obviously we can get to here and do a naval invasion, but still worried about ships attacking and other things. If there's the British, if they see a naval invasion and they've got reactive ships, they will react to it. Okay. We're gonna wait until these guys get here, but we don't need you doing the naval striking anymore. So stop that. Don't burn the fuel. Okay, now here. Let's shift all these over here. Don't care about organization because I'm not using it anytime soon. Okay, and I want to change. Just change it to mode. It's still an infantry division, we just motorized it, in essence. Okay, this will be a pretty fast one. Go there. What? And another division. Okay, just a, oh no, this is a. Oh wait a minute, what is this? Okay, we're still going to need a headquarters for it. Do I have? Yes, got these. That's what I think, planning on using. So I guess I'll just drop it right into Berlin. Because although this isn't a and this time we're going this way because it's just Division 8, Veteran Division HQ. Now we want a good panzer leader. As you can see, my great reluctance to build specific fortress busting divisions just is. Now I got these, as if you've been watching, and I'm not sure exactly display order for the Soviet invasion, I do plan on, when I get near a city, let's just say Leningrad, that's fortified up and everything, I plan on dropping one of those heavy railway guns, or two or whatever, next to the city on top of an infantry division like one of these over here, and adding the railway guns to the division for a temporary fortress busting. Just want to see if you could just Barbarossa aspect of it. And I've also thought that even if got a full 8 brigades in there, just remove the truck transport, since it's not going anywhere once you put the super cannons, the railway guns, there, and then use that as a temporary fortress busting. It's sort of like attaching it. If I say give the fortress or the railway guns to a, say, an HQ, or leave them as independent, they have a multiplier effect for city attack, not just their. Go back to one of these. Oh, well, let's finish this task. Okay, we want a. Sorry, I'm interrupting myself here. Commando. Okay. Okay, we can do this. I don't know, defensive. I sort of wanted an offensive one. Okay, here we go. We'll use him, just because I may be using that against the city. As you can see here, this has where is it? Some soft attack, some no hard attack here, as you can see here with this gun. So this, as a unit, and it's not, right now it's not attached to anything, is pretty pathetic, because it's, you know, it's just, you know, the soft attack is just that. But what it really has is that it needs to be is like fort attack, 140% better, fort defense plus 40%. You really need to stack it with other units to make it effective. Obviously it's super bad at amphibious attacks, but urban attacks it's also pretty good. So that's the kind of thing you want to do. Now, I've been sort of reluctant to attach these for a couple of reasons. One, it has a cool name. Obviously I could either retype that or something in there. But the other thing I've sort of been a little reluctant to is once these guys lose a battle and start to retreat, they almost never, well, but they may take a year to retreat from this province to this other province here. It's just super bad. So any unit tied with them is ineffective, you know, until that's done again. So I just don't know what I'm going to do. It's partially just indecision. I don't know whether I should be, because these aren't yet fortresses here. They will be if we build the Atlantic Wall. So then they would have fortress defense bonuses. So they would be a little more useful then. So again, this doesn't even have any fortress yet. I got the railway in there. So they're really sort of useless here now as they are. You know, with this terrain and even attached to another unit, because they, you know, without being a fortress to either attack or defend, or a city to attack or defend, they're sort of useless guns. So and so I'm keeping these guys ready instead of having, and of course you could SR them and keep SR, you know, strategically redeploying them as you approach the cities, but might as well just sort of keep them here and drop them in when needed to a city that is you want to besiege. So that's how I'm planning on doing a fortress busting city siege division. Now here, this is a heavy armor unit, has both well, it's currently early prototype, but you can look at the stats. This is pretty good, but I also did a light armor attachment as well to Just help things out. I don't. It just got expensive as it was. I used the semi-motorized just because we can look here and see the speed of the heavy armor currently is slower than the semi-motorized unit. So there was no need really to do a full motorized. I think the full motorized has some better combat stats, and although we are sort of going with a sort of something of an elite division, that it has a heavy armor detachment to it, just the sticker shock was still something a bit much. So I'm hoping that this will be with this heavy armor in it, particularly as model levels increase and stats increase here, we will be able to use it for not just like city busting or anything like that, fortress busting, but also just smashing through other enemy armor. Won't be going fast, deep penetrations, but break through and then follow up and take them out. So that's sort of my thought on that. Okay, so we have this. We're gonna need, and do I have a few still in production? Yeah, these guys. I made these guys here. Just for a couple of them are full garrisons. The rest are sort of garrison detachments. For island occupation, just to try to protect them, because I just did the airborne or the bomber attacks. I am putting AA regiments with them because they also have reasonably decent heart attack, pierce attack. Not as good as proper anti-tank. If you're going to build a proper division, you can build a proper division. I did include HQs just to try to get some combined arms bonus on them. The other thing to do is really good, and I may produce more someday, but some of these islands here, once you start cleaning up, I don't know if there'll be any British or Americans in range really to invade, so they become less of a reason to even garrison them, quite honestly. But if you're thinking about proper garrisons like on the west or the Atlantic Wall or some other place, put rocket artillery with them also. Rocket artillery is uber cheap to build. If my understanding of the way the stats work, uses very little supplies just sitting there. So all the time that it sits there in the garrison and nobody attacks it, hardly uses any supplies. So it's cheap that way. Now once it gets into combat, my understanding is, things may have changed and I haven't looked at the stats. That's why I say my understanding, because I knew at one point. But I do believe they still are. Will use supplies up very heavily once in combat, but you sort of don't care once you're in combat, and they make really good artillery for defending things like that. Just my sort of thoughts on this. Now, we've got these guys here. The naval gonna do any good with them? Probably not. But that would have maybe cut there. Yeah, we didn't hit them. Come on. Okay. You. So you punch up this way. Try to take the capital. Okay, now here we are here. And let's see. My desert armor not made it there yet? There it is. Oh, it didn't. Oh, well, let's go pick it up. That'll be quicker. Go pick it up. Oh, this battle man, people still retreating out. Okay, recon unit, combined arms, great. Let's convert this over to communications. Attack movement improved, that's very good. And yes, I know by Stalin going into the Soviet Union, just means that the Soviets are getting more and more research done, better units. And obviously you can see what happens if you want to attack them early, like I did in the alt history version. You can see how well we look. As I'm making this, I still haven't completed that, so I don't know how well that's going to turn out. But I can sort of kind of tell you now. I don't know how it's going to turn out. Like I say, I don't plan on making that going on, even if I defeat the Soviets. We don't need you patrolling out. Where's the torpedo? Oh, it's that torpedo, but okay. We don't need you. Cancel operations. That's what we don't need there. Just because I'm having more fun with this, doing a more historical playthrough. Okay, well I do want the... Oh, we're saving. Good. Okay, pause. Let's... the light infantry. More fun playing this somewhat more historical path. Obviously, Germany never came down into here. Oh, there's my air. They're doing... You know, let's just move these guys that are fully... I want medium bombers. I'll have longer range, I do believe. No, those are light. There are some medium bombers. There we go. I don't need those fighters there either. Let's come down to here, rebase stuff. Oh, you're here now, good. Attack those guys. And let's support. And we'll support this attack. Ground attacks. Uh-oh, bunch of stuff. Okay. Move one there, good. Move one there, good. So you can stop. Oh, bunch of stuff. Bunch of stuff. Okay. You can stop attacking. You've done your job. Okay, the 369th Reinforced Infantry Regiment, also known as the Croatian Legion, was a military unit of independent state of Croatia's Home Guard. Won't try to pronounce that. Which fought alongside the Wehrmacht on the Eastern Front. Okay, unit in Zagreb, Croatia. Good. Supplies for Crete. No. Now. Agricultural industry. Well, we got the money. That's for sure. By big time for sure. gain a lot of supplies. We could use that right now. I mean, we're not desperate like we were a while ago, but and gain the manpower, absolutely. So the manpower is worth it. Okay, Herr Flick, sorry, Herr Flick of the Gestapo. Okay, no, actually this should be next. Sorry. The Fallen Madonna. The Fallen Madonna with the big boobies by von Klump, a very famous artist. The Fallen Madonna with the big boobies is a very famous and valuable painting that Colonel von Strom has taken as a retirement plane. The resistance must steal it back to save it from the Germans. The painting is rumored to have special powers. The resistance can save the Fallen Madonna, or can the question is, can the resistance save the Fallen Madonna, or will Hitler get the painting, or will some other high-ranking Nazi take an interest? Okay, so this is one of the best copies I found. Someone was holding it in there, a recreation of it, of the one that was used in this series. Obviously, it's sort of a takeoff of Madonna paintings and the Mona Lisa, but this is the big the dingus, as what was put. Forget which director said it doesn't really matter what the dingus is, but you got to have the dingus in the movie. In a movie like the Maltese Falcon, the dingus is the falcon that they're all trying to get their hands on. You got to have something that everybody's sort of competing over everything for. The point of contention in this story. Well, the biggest point of contention in the stories is the Fallen Madonna with the big boobies. Everybody's trying to get their hands on it. The resistance, supposedly at least, to save for the French nation. The Germans, well, Colonel von Strom as personal property. Others want to get it for Hitler or for other high-ranking Nazis. So everything is like trying to find the fallen, or they may make multiple copies. It's the thing that everybody's trying to get their hands on, the Fallen Madonna with the big boots. So that's that. Okay, this was Herr Flick of the Gestapo is sent by Himmler to get the famous painting, the Fallen Madonna with the big boobies, to add to Hitler's collection. He has he has heard, yeah, I gotta rewrite this, of the rumored special powers, because of course Himmler's always looking for artifacts with special powers, so he's trying to get that. Okay, and this is Herr Flick, as you can see there, just zoomed in, same photo. This is Olga, I think Helga. We'll see a more event with her, but the Gestapo. Now, like when Flick answers the phone, he says, "Flick, Gestapo, Flick the Gestapo." As in fuck the Gestapo, Flick the Gestapo. So it's again sort of funny wordplay and the British thing. So he arrives in Nouvion. And did he get a unit? His own? I don't know. Oh yes. Gotta show that off. Gotta show off my fun things. Okay, so now we have this is just a regular SD unit. Here, so we have, no it isn't, I guess, no, it's Flick the Gestapo, Flick's Gestapo, so it isn't a regular SD unit. See, again, made special unit. This is, he eventually gets another Gestapo aide that always gets injured and hurt and shot and whatever, wounded and whatever. So we now have a Gestapo SD unit commanded by Flick. Only he was able to find one photo of him actually in a SS type uniform there. It's sort of dark, you can't see it so well. But so we have Flick's Gestapo here. So now we have an SD unit. And it has suppression. It's not, maybe it's like 4.5, and like I've said, it has traits, but nothing upgrades with it. So we can look at one of these units with this SD unit here, and its suppression is 26.4. So these aren't either the biggest or the most competent SD suppressors. That's sort of what it's meant to be. But it's still a useful unit. So, okay. And Rapid Wien, Fast Vienna, takes the 1941 German mine shaft from FC Shack 04. Sorry, I'm not a big football, as you Europeans may say, or soccer fan, so I don't know. Now, this was sort of taken off of something else, but I found this photo and a little bit of information about it, so I included it, that they were going on. Now, since I made this, and since I've did most of my research, I found this wonderful website with lots and lots of photos and lots of information of football under the Nazis, including dealing with games with other national teams during the war and all kinds of stuff. So someday either that'll end up as part of Third Reich, a version of Third Reich events, or I'll make a football mod, maybe with the help of a football person. So lose manpower, I sort of figured keeping a fair amount, because not just these two teams, Shackle and Rapid Wien, but it's the whole sort of league is still going on, so they maybe not their 100% best players, but they're keeping a certain amount of good physical athletes away from the battlefield to maintain the sports team. So you get that, but we also get a reducing dissent here, and it costs a little money. So now we're at 0 dissent. Okay, the future of German-Turkish relations. We should better we should have a better relationship. I didn't write this. With Turkey to stabilize the situation on the Balkans, in the Balkans. Sorry, I'm correcting some stuff here. Now sometimes the way I would flow a sentence and the way another English speaker would flow the sentences are different. And so when I'm sort of reading things out loud, sometimes I sort of my perception of what the sentence is supposed to say is running ahead of what I'm actually reading. But sometimes it's just like this, that it's English, but it just, on the Balkans, in the Balkans, there's various perspective things, so that we can focus on our fight against the Soviet Union. Now, of course, earlier we had the event that we stopped Stalin's aggression against the Turks. This is from the Deutsch, the D-Worms mod. Okay, offer a non-aggression pact in addition, or just a treaty of friendship. So this is sufficient. So basically this is a treaty of friendship with a non-aggression pact, a treaty of friendship, and no need, because we were going to invade. I think this top one will actually set a non-aggression pact. So we're going to do that. I have no plans to invade Turkey, and we even gain a little popularity, because I think we're down at just high popularity. And we're going to improve relationship and reduce our threat on Turkey. Not that that's going to be enough. And I do believe that there are some things in black ice to try to keep Germany from getting Turkey as an ally. Just because if you, and I don't know if there are, right, I'm still pissed about this, that we don't have them as an ally yet. Not that I was going to have them invade anybody, but I just want, one of the main reasons I'll tell you right now is why I want them as an ally. So all of these units here, including the units that are given to them by event, that these are actually some German, when we've lost a few commanders to go down and command this, is that I want all of these units up on the Soviet border. I don't want them on here. I don't want them worrying about defending here. And I don't want Italy trying to defend against Bulgaria because it sees a border there. I want those troops somewhere else. I want them up on the Swiss border because the Swiss are dangerous, deceitful. No, just the stupid. The Swiss aren't going to invade us, Italy. We don't need to be there either. You could be out being aggressive, or you could be defending your ports, or you could be sitting down here ready to defend North Africa from an American invasion or something. So, but obviously and now I'll tell you, and I'm sure I said this in the last playthrough for Germany, maybe the best reason to invade Switzerland is to get these units away from the Swiss border. But then the question is what good Italy is going to do with them otherwise. They may set them all down in ports, but if we don't have any real threats in the Mediterranean, I don't know what they're going to do, and I don't know here how much they got. Some pretty decent stacks of units here. If they send too much more down here, whether the supplies will be able to flow. Okay, the Tirpitz has been launched for a little while, but yeah, okay. So you're down here now. Okay, can you bomb here? Ground attack. This right? Nobody there? Okay, so we're going to cancel the ground attack. Can't do this yet. Now, what I want to do here is fly you here. I think you might be able to make it. A lot of units there. Overstacked. Yes, we're going to go with this airborne assault. I want to do this for multiple reasons. One, I want to secure it for Germany and not as part of an Italian possession. So that's why, one of the reasons, as opposed to simply moving that quite honestly, not that I am unwilling to or think it's bad to try to help Italy here, and maybe I should move in a couple of armored units, but the reason I sort of haven't particularly moved it down here because I didn't want Italy advancing down and be, one province or something away and then have this become Italian territory. Eventually it would revert to Germany once we've invaded Britain and take Britain in a sort of a peace settlement way. I have an event that would turn it to German control, but I wanted it under my control. So supplies for Athena. Yeah, we still have a lot of units down there and won't do that. It could just okay, well, we've gotten 2 of these events. Maybe if we do no need now, we'll cancel that. We don't need endless amounts of headquarters there. How are we doing for revolt risk down here? Fair. Okay, fair. We could use some there too, so. No, I want to click here. Let's give them a police battalion. Let's give this battalion here. Make sure that there's no one commanding it. No leader. No leader. So. Well. Yeah, let's march down there. Okay, well, now that you guys are organized up in case you encounter anybody, well, let's go in intermediate stages. Let's come down here. Don't want to send that into the interior, the marine unit into the interior. Well, but we need to pick up my airborne armor, so yeah, oh, so yes, you go to here. Rebase. We have the other fleet here coming with a lot more units down here. Oh, let's send you here because you'll be more useful down in Africa, I think. Here, maybe, maybe not, I don't know. Okay. You get on board. You get on board. Now, sort of kind of looks like there's not much in the way of enemy shipping. Let's put you out here just... Okay, if there's a problem, tackle them. Tackle them, and you also tackle shipping. Oh, and we need to come down here and build an airbase because I want to be able to do paradrops like after here, though we can from here, but just fighter control or whatever. Radar to be able to better see out into there. I think that is it. And that's down to the bottom. Oh, and we also need to readjust some things because I don't want either of those in production right now. Okay, fighters. I want to build proper landing craft, but I don't want to. I have enough between various types. Well, could use some long range. No, we can't build long range. That's right. We can only build liners. Liners are useless for invasions. Well, lots of fighters coming. Let's build a couple of these transports, regular sorts. Just get those into production. They'll be useful. Let's build a couple of regular submarines. Just want to try to be somewhat balanced. Okay. We got a lot, but we can always use more panzer divisions. Okay, so let's go with an armored division with mechanized battalion. Well, pay 21. $30. Well, let's just go with the mechanized battalion there. So with artillery, we need motorized engineers for sure. Now, let's see here. 8 versus 4. Let's just go with truck transport. Let's see about using one of the veteran HQs, so we don't need an HQ for this. I want it to go sort of speedy, I think, because we're not having any heavy units, so we want to do this. Hoping the armor will be enough penetration and heart attack and not use an anti-tank unit of some sort. No, maybe, I don't know. What is the cost of a tank destroyer? 9. Oh, that's sort of expensive, yeah. Not that I didn't think so. Okay, for reconnaissance. 4, yeah. Yeah, I'd be good with that. Veteran HQ. That should be a pretty good, fairly powerful unit with mechanized infantry there. That, I think so. So we're going to do that, and we're going to do a second one of those, I think. Obviously, you can, even if they get partially into production, I can just delay, you know, shove them down on the list if I don't need both right away. And obviously, I think both of those won't be in the initial. So we've made it to Dar es Salaam, and we are in Tanganyika. Okay, now there's been some other really good events, and I do want to praise them from the other mods. That's why I want to sort of play this somewhat historical type path to see what the other modders have been doing. And some of them are a bit more detailed than mine and than this. That's really good. Again, but this is just what, again, George 41, who's over the time, sometimes sent me, I normally have to, I'll just say, and if George is watching, it's fine. He writes his events as if people are going to be following the history. And so, you know, down the historical path. So one of the things I often have to do is add more conditions, you know, just to, I don't know, check to see if if Hungary's at peace with Germany or something like that, and it still exists, you know, because he would I'm not even thinking of any particular event, but we'd sort of presume that, you know, and in 1942 Hungary is a member of the Axis and it'll exist. Well, maybe the player decided to invade Hungary, or maybe, you know, Germany's lost so bad in 42 that Hungary is controlled by somebody else. Yeah, I don't know, or just not in the Axis for some reason. So he, you know, I normally have to tweak his events at least a little bit when he does that. Other times that he has sent me things like this New York Times front page and other stuff that he's just sent me event ideas through this, and I've worked up and knocked out a bunch of events based on that kind of thing. Okay, this is sort of one that he sort of inspired, or, you know, gave me the stuff. President Roosevelt ordered by executive order today the immediate freezing of the assets in the United States of Germany and Italy, and all invaded or occupied European countries whose funds and investments had not yet previously been frozen. 6 other countries affected by this order, the Soviet Union, Switzerland, Sweden, Portugal, Finland, Spain, will not be able to obtain licenses to withdraw funds under strict control. This will lead in a few days to Germany and Italy shutting U.S. consulates and expelling diplomats. As part of that, we saw some of that based in around one of the events dealing with, I think it was the U.S. Ship bound for Mozambique or something like that, that also will lead in a few days. I think that has something to do with this. So again, our events are sort of overlapping in effects and what this now. So just so that you sort of understand what's going on here, is this is different than simply putting an embargo on other nations like this. We're already sort of under the effect. That's why I have, and I know that there was already a an event that adds an embargo between U.S. and Germany. So why do but this is a step beyond that, as I understand this stuff. So our current relations are -33. So this, with everything that's going on, but this is freezing the assets of the United States, of Germany, and Italy. But this also is not necessarily, or my understanding, again I haven't read the actual law, but this frees assets of German nationals and Italian nationals and their companies, and not just national assets. And it freezes them, and which is basically sort of the U.S. government taking over them. So if it's money in a bank, the account still exists, the money's still there, but the U.S. controls it. If there's property, like could be literally a house, or piece of land property, or some other property, could be a bunch of machine tools sitting in a warehouse that have been bought and paid for that want to be exported, but they couldn't then sell them to some other company in a different country, maybe to then resell them once they get out of the U.S. to go into Germany. But they can't back profit off of them. So, and this also affects any Dutch or Belgian or Norwegian or Danish assets and company assets that are also frozen. That the like in Denmark, the country was still functioning. There was still the king. It still had a government. Now it had to work under the occupation of Germany, but it still functioned. But whatever assets that it had in the U.S., it no longer can get at. And then obviously, it says 6 other countries are affected by this that aren't in the Axis: Soviet Union, Switzerland, Sweden, Portugal, Finland, Spain. They have to get special licenses to withdraw funds. So the idea is that keep the stuff from going to the Germany. So I figured this along with everything else is another massive hit. With relations, everything's building up, freezing assets. We lose money. I do sort of consider that just extra punishment that the U.S. I don't think it had supplanted London as the main banking capital of the world at, New York, Wall Street as the main banking capital of the world yet. I know in today's world it has. Britain is sort of the London, the city, whatever you want to call that, is sort of like the number 2 main financial capital of the world for international things. I think New York's the main one. There's some other ones, but so this just, and because it's also freezing money and assets in occupied territories, also going to disrupt our relations with Sweden and whatever else. So because they're now under this because of our actions, of Germany's actions. So that's why I do the money hit. Lose supplies, that was sort of goods and other things that potentially were in the pipeline to come through to us. And rare materials, again, similar things that were potentially coming to us are now lost. And part of these whole things, I'm sort of presuming it's looking like this: that you've got a stockpile of this, you've got a stockpile of supplies, you've got a stockpile of money. Partly it's just a way to drain of that. And this improves our relations with Romania, because depending on how things go, Romania may or may not yet have been in the Axis, but since they're also under this situation here, and I think they're mentioned somewhere in the article that maybe they didn't mention here. So it improves our relationship with Romania because of that. Okay, new industry for the nation. Metal we can afford. Fuel, well, more or less. Energy, obviously, we can afford that. Money, 5,000. We can afford that because we got 20-some thousand. Supplies, 25,000. We'll get nylon. Is there a nylon? In fact, I'm just wondering what exactly, because I have the sort of the dual problem here trying to judge whether to do this. Is one, how likely, because this is for like a year, will we have the cool down effect? Will it be taken off at the right time instead of reset and reset and reset? And two, I'm not exactly sure which, because what it does is, in my understanding, is it puts down one of like resource powerhouse here. We control Roswick, controlled by Germany or whatever. That's one of the resources. So probably, let's see, Captain of Industry. We've got that because we've got the cars and a few other things. I think we're going to save our resources just because I can't make an intelligent decision on this. But we get a cooldown again for a year. Oh no, until July. So, yeah, for a year, because that's actually until December, year and a half. Yeah, we're going to do this. We'll have another opportunity back to see about that again. We do get a fair amount of rare materials from the Soviet Union. And steel. Do we still need the steel? 61. Well, we don't need all that steel. Which obviously will be cut off when we go to war, if we go, well, win to the Soviet Union. But if we have a good stockpile, that should be okay. Okay. Now that we have the air out here flying, fighter cover for this movement. Rebase. And yes, we have supplies flowing. This also, of course, cuts off, not 100% because, but you come up to the front up to here, whatever here. Now supplies to Britain. Well, you know, this may have cut off supplies to these units. Oh, well, no, they still hold here in Kenya, Mombasa. This is sort of the, I don't think they can trace supplies via South Africa. So once we get Mombasa, whether we or the Italians, that cuts off their ability to supplies, but it does cut off here 4 levels of port that was presumably supplying supplies. Vichy, France. Vichy, yes, you may have energy. Okay, USA has been accepted into the Allies. Okay, I did notice that when I clicked on the USA a minute ago to look at their relations with us, that Britain was influencing them. So July 41 is earlier than historical. Now some of the stuff happened earlier, you know, some various events, including us coming down in Africa, that could push the U.S. into their hands. So, which to me means we're going to have to see about getting these guys and other similar sorts of units. You come up here. We need to transport units to North Africa to better secure, just in case there's either an actual naval invasion, though Vichy I believe is still neutral, or the scripted ones. Now that probably won't happen until 42 as historical, but who knows, they may be condition based, just US in the Ally, or at war, and Vichy controls those ports, and time to happen 6 months or something. I don't know. Okay. I'm sure there's supposed to know how to pronounce that, but I don't know this. Do Squeeny? I don't know. Spy ring disrupted. Mein Führer. Our largest and most fruitful supply network in the United States has been uncovered by the U.S. government agencies. Historically, the spy ring is the largest espionage case in the United States history that ended in convictions. A total of 30. See, they're not going to convict everybody on the current Russian spy ring that took over America, because of course America is now controlled by Vladimir Putin, because Trump was just for many years a complete and total a puppet of Putin. And see, that's what Putin knew, that he should have Trump become running the show. Man, I'm blanking on it. Where you're fired. Oh, whatever the TV show was. Sorry, blanking on it. I know the name. I'm just blanking right now. The more I think about it, the worse it is. That he was going to do all this stuff, and he was going to become president, and that was all Putin's master plan. Oh, people. Yeah, Manafort. He was, and everyone knew it in the Republican Party that once Trump got Manafort involved, Manafort is a scummy, behind the scenes person that helps dictatorships and everything else, and Trump was stupid to hire them. But that is not the U.S. taking over or the Soviet Union, or not Soviet, Russia taking over the U.S. elections or interfering. It's just Trump wanted what he thought would be some sort of Machiavellian good campaign boss. Now, he happened to have ties with Russia, but that didn't matter to Trump at the time. I mean, it was a stupid move, but the Russians aren't controlling us. There is no great super spy ring controlling the current government. If you look at some of the news, God. Russian influence, Russian subversion of the election. Yeah, there's trolls, online trolls, that are spiking up hashtags on Twitter and such. Yeah, certainly. I don't know if that changes any significant percentage of the vote, but yeah, that exists. And yes, we've known for many years under Obama that Russia has been doing all kinds of hacking attacks, trying to break into the Pentagon computers, trying to break into the State Department's computers, trying to break into Google's computers. And we know that. We also know that Iran's been has a hacking force, and we know China has a hacking force. In fact, the U.S. has a hacking force. And we all know that they're trying to break in to see whether they want to break in, and they can just get in and not do anything. That would be good information. So when they wanted to do something, they knew they could. Or maybe they want to get in and steal information or plant false information. That's been going on for years. We knew that under Obama. Mitt Romney said that the biggest threat to the U.S. was Russia, and Obama was the 1990s wants their foreign policy back. Yeah, but now the Democrats are all worried about Russia's foreign policy, and Russia's the biggest threat, and China's no longer the big threat. God, you people in the media And anyone who's believing this has a major impact. Yes, it might have influenced a 0.5% in the vote totals, but the media influenced massive amounts of it. There's, collusion. There's much more of active collusion between the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton's campaign, specifically, and the news media. We have the emails. We have the people confessing to it. Not that there was a crime there. It was like Donna Brazile. She confessed that she leaked the questions to Hillary Clinton so that she could defeat Bernie Sanders. Yes, it's all corrupt. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that at all. But it's much more corrupt on the Democratic side. The Republicans are spineless. The Democrats are power hungry. That's just the way it is. Okay, historically, the spy ring. Okay, a total of 33 members of a German espionage network headed by Friedrich Fritz Jober. I'm sure if I heard it pronounced, I probably have it in some documentary, because I know I've seen some documentaries that mention some of this stuff in the past. Once I heard it, I would be able to attach the spelling to it, but I just can't. DeQuincy? I don't know. Were convicted after a lengthy investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. The agents who formed the ring were placed in key jobs in the United States to get information that could be used in the event of war and carry out acts of sabotage. One opened a restaurant and used this position to get information from his customers. Another worked on an airline so that he could report Allied ships that were crossing the Atlantic Ocean. William Schofield, who had been blackmailed into becoming a spy for Germany, became a double agent and helped the FBI gather evidence. For nearly 2 years, the FBI ran a shortwave radio station in New York for the ring. They learned what information Germany was sending to its spies in the U.S. and controlled what was sent to Germany. One German spy master later commented the ring's roundup delivered the death blow to espionage efforts in the United States. The FBI director, J. Edgar Hoover, called his concentrated FBI swoop on the ring the greatest spy roundup in U.S. history. Okay, so we're going to have a massive hit to our espionage thing. And this was a big thing. And you got to remember, Germany had a long history of this, because you go back and look at Black Tom and some of the other events in World War I. Black Tom was an island or something as part of New York, greater New York area, and that was maybe involved in the production, but definitely involved in the housing and shipping of munitions, explosives, during World War I. And when that set up, that just blew up and took out not just the island basically and everybody on it or whatever. I don't know if everybody died, but lots of people died, but blew out windows and did damage for miles and miles around off of it. You can read about it. It's been a long time since I have, so I'm sure I'm messing up some of the details. But there had been this World War I type effort that Germany knew about, and they had as the 30s were going along, they had worked to set up this other ring, and I believe it's mostly outside of anything operating with the German-American Bund. There were several movies, and right now escaping the names on that were made sort of about this, and some of the other stuff that's quite fictionalized, but you might want to check out. Okay, so, whoa, man, I just looked up and saw the clock, and we've really gone way over time. So, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. I really do appreciate that, and please post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas. I love hearing from you. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.